Welcome to KNOTStrong.
This is a podcast for men about real challenges and real growth.
Life can hit hard. What do you do when the things you've always relied upon quit working?
When the way you've always handled things just isn't enough.
When your physical, mental, and spiritual strength are put to the test?
Do you push through, hold on even tighter?
Or have you learned how to surrender? And what does that look like?
We're here to explore the human spirit with you and share what it takes to press forward through life's greatest challenges.
To tap into something bigger than ourselves and live a healthier, happier, more fulfilling life.
Join us on the KNOTStrong journey.
Welcome to KNOTStrong. My name's Kurtis Loftus.
And I'm Tim Hamby.
KNOTStrong, empowering the human spirit. This is episode 13, Tim. And we picked a good one for 13.
Yeah. Today we're going to be talking about...
We are talking about superstition.
Yeah. So the 13th is a good day to
Bad
do that
luck,
on.
good luck. What does it mean? Where does it come from? How long have people been paying attention to these, otherworldly, supernatural things as they've lived their lives?
Yeah.
And we're going to try to build it into our stories. And when we've kind of leaned into some crazy ideas that we thought might benefit us out of superstitious notions,
Yeah.
And then, of course, bring it back home and maybe from the context of we love digging into biblical aspects. And sometimes there's scriptural stuff that we can find that might either, weirdly enough, support what would be an idea that is, 4,000 years old and to just debunk that because it has no really relevance in our lives. We're just crazy people that like to have patterns and like to do things a certain way. And if we don't, we sometimes believe it might not benefit us. The universe may not work for us.
Yeah.
So, but like always, we pray. And I think if it's cool, I'll say a prayer for us.
Absolutely.
And then we'll get into this discussion today. So, Jesus, thank you for the opportunity to come together, have an audience that is growing and hopefully enjoying the discussion that Tim and I have. I know that there's been a lot happening in both of our lives over the past 10 days, 2 weeks. So we bring just some peace and some hopefully serenity into those spaces. We are here for you. We're here for just a stronger relationship where it's built on things that are good and your grace. So in your name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Kurtis.
Oh, yes, and it's great to see you. It's been a little bit.
Yeah, a couple of weeks. I know we both have things going on, personal things. I've got a friend who's fighting a battle with cancer, and we're trying to help him out. And
it's a similar. Is this a similar cancer?
Yeah, it is colon cancer. Yeah, it's a fellow, good friend from long time from. Known the guy since 5th grade, I guess, and dear friend. And so he went through it. He was a big help for me, this past year when I was going through mine. And he's in a second round with it, and it's just been difficult.
Right,
Life is still happening around us.
Ooh, I know. And
you had your own issue.
Well, we briefly talked before show about my mother and what's been happening. She's in the throes of dementia, and the kids. There's 4 siblings, and we all saw it coming on 15 years ago. Her mom had it as well, and it's something that you try to prepare for. And I'm grateful that. Again, I don't think I could be better prepared right now. Honestly, all the things that I've been going through, with my own cancer diagnosis and the things that I've talked about already, the recovery I'm in with, for many years, my go-to was alcohol. And so the last 11 years, not going into that's not the solution, right, Tim?
That's right.
And so for us to talk about these things, understand that life is going to be lifey. Some of our friends say life gets lifey. and that you're with your friend in a manner that I know brings him some at least peace a little bit, right? And the support is so important. Sometimes people don't know what to do. They get almost frozen because it's so tough.
Yeah.
And for you to do the work, be there for your friend, it's amazing. And I'm, like I said, grateful to see you today. And this topic doesn't relate at all, really, other than we may find ourselves when it comes to superstition and behavior, things that, sometimes take hold of someone and they decide these processes that I go through in my life make my life better or make my life work. And you just learn over time, if you're honest, no, that's not the way this thing goes.
Yeah. I think it's easy for people, obviously, historically, to fall into that trap. And and
start a day a certain way, eat a certain food,
And you had a really good definition of it. Why don't you read the definition of superstition?
This is what I found, and it's interesting because it bases it on the supernatural, right? So a widely held belief, but unjustifiable belief. Oh, excuse me, let me back this up. A widely held but unjustifiable belief in supernatural causation, leading to certain consequences of an action or event, or a practice based on such a belief. So, it's supernatural causation. So something that you believe, and because our faith puts us in a place where often, our beliefs are about we have a love and a relationship with a power that is supernatural. Right?
Yes.
And so you get into conversations and you go, well, how can you qualify this as acceptable and this over here unacceptable? And all I know is that there's some simple truths to a walk with Jesus versus a walk that is built on sometimes man's kind of created like belief system that is really just predicated on a selfish sort of obsession, maybe, and I know it's probably not as clear as I'm trying to make it.
It's very clear.
I will say this, I have found myself gaining more peace over my lifetime, more contentment as life gets more crazy, as it gets more interesting, as it gets maybe even more challenging. And I don't know, I have to give it to a greater source of power. I give it to God, and that's because I've learned I'm not that source of power. I'm not it. I'm not the dude.
And that's hard for a lot of people to figure out.
It is. So, and speaking of lots of people, by the way, this is fun. And I just looked up some crazy, superstitious beliefs from some important people. Athletes are always fun, right? And
athletes, are very superstitious.
They are.
Our favorite athlete, at least one of mine, Kelly.
He's up there.
He's got superstitious or superstitions, I should say. You know what he does, right?
And by the way, people, when you say this, they're going to start slapping. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm giving it away. Go for it. He slaps the water.
He slaps the water. Yeah,
that brings the waves.
And I've sat there and watched it online. It appears to work. I mean, he'll be needing one wave with a certain score.
Yeah. He's like losing a heat.
He's 20 seconds to go in a heat, and you see him start slapping the water, and then sure enough, a wave comes in that's just absolutely perfect, and he rides it perfect, of course, and he wins the heat. And I've watched it.
Our favorite, all of our surf buds are going to be doing this slapping the water thing now. They didn't. You just brought something to their attention they had no idea existed.
I'm sure I've probably tried it.
Have you tried it?
Yeah.
What about the one where you have the water? You take your cupped hands and drop it down into the ocean, and then spurt the water out like a whale spout.
Yeah. I've done that before as well.
That brings me nothing. It just looks
Yeah.
kind of silly. So we won't go down that rabbit hole. Let's go with Wade Boggs, Hall of Famer, ate chicken before every game. Chicken.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So eating something special.
But chicken, no. And then he and his wife created a chicken cookbook.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. Wayne
Third
Gretzky.
baseman for the Red Sox, right?
Oh, dude, that doesn't say that here.
Okay.
Then Wayne Gretzky, the great one, he puts on his uniform in a specific order. So his uniform always goes on a certain way.
I've heard of other people doing that.
And
for
then
sure.
his warm-up shot, he always shoots the first one wide right. So he intentionally fires it off to the right.
Yeah.
And then apparently he consumed a specific sequence of drinks before games. That's how intense this guy is. It's like, imagine he doesn't want anyone around him. He's like, just let me get my ritual done.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to be the great one.
Yeah.
And there's people that go, let me study that. Maybe I should be doing some of that stuff. Steve Waugh, the Australian cricketer, he always carried a red handkerchief when he was batting. Serena Williams, she reportedly refused to change her socks during tournaments if on a winning streak. Never changed her socks. Those are some smelly socks, I bet.
Yeah.
Jason Giambi wore a gold thong. That's a good one.
Yeah.
A gold thong under his uniform for good luck. So there's some of them. Oh, Michael Jordan, he wore his North Carolina shorts under his Chicago Bulls shorts during games.
Interesting.
I never knew that one.
And you've seen baseball teams, rally caps, right? They spin their head around when they need not their head, but their caps when they're needing a rally. Put them on backwards.
Interesting. Okay.
And there's all kinds of things like that. Like you said, athletes, or there's a lot of athletes, who are very superstitious people. And then it gets into the question of, okay, do you really believe
Right.
that this is necessary to do, or is something else happening here? Like I've mentioned before, we had a little discussion about it, and it kind of gets into OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, where people have routines that they do.
Yep.
When they brush your teeth, turn off the water, come there, certain order, make sure this light's off, make sure this is on, whatever it is. There's a pattern. And in those cases, it all relates to having control. There's some things in your life that you have control, that you can control.
Right.
And because other things are stressing you out and
I get it.
anxiety that you can't control.
Yeah.
And so it makes me wonder, do those people, those athletes and people who do these things, do they really believe that this is
this practice
is
brings
it
them
superstition,
brings them
or
something.
is it something that brings them comfort?
You probably answered it. I mean, it's all of the above. My curiosity about this topic, because you and I were talking earlier in the week. We had a whole other idea for a topic, went away from that because there's some things that with the podcast and how we want to approach podcast and what we hope from a benefit standpoint it provides. You were looking at the value to the audience from a certain other topic, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. This topic is interesting to me because it's based on cultures. It goes through all cultures. It goes throughout time. Yeah. I mean, this idea of like putting your faith into something that is just the moon or a coyote sort of pack that sits outside of the tribe, and I'm just making
looking
stuff up
for a reason or justification for things that happen.
Right, and we've been doing it forever.
Yeah.
And now 21st century, you're looking at AI coming online and things that are truly becoming so science-based and so like just knowledge, where we're really hyper accelerating into another dimension with knowledge, right? Where does that leave some of these things that are spiritual, and as we talk about spirit,
Yeah.
The things that I believe are valuable, like relationship with God, that is not built around, and this is where it gets tricky. I know that the audience comes at this with a lot of different belief systems, and there's so many different ways to approach your life. But I truly believe love and even tolerance and some of these things that we learn through experience and relationship with Jesus can fix us in a place where comfort and peace, which is huge for...
Where you're not having to look for explanations from other things.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was in that document over there where I kind of came to a place in one of the sort of the rabbit holes I went down where, the final statement of purpose, let's say, with relationship and trying to make sure you're not chasing these things and, works-based, because a lot of your Old Testament stuff was works-based, right?
Yeah.
That the whole idea of relationship with God was you better do these 5 things. And they even released the scapegoat, and the scapegoat, was a way to satisfy that relationship, all these crazy things. And it's like, no, your hope and your experience is going to be based on God present already, God with you. It's not build the bridge to get to that relationship. It's already there. And what we're trying to do is meditate on him and trying to settle what is some of the complexities and the challenges and the things that take us away from him, right? Yeah, and so superstitions can pull you away, I think, from what would be a true, honest relationship.
Yeah.
And so when you see the practice happening, or when you're doing it, because I used to do a lot of weird stuff just to hopefully have a decent day.
I wear this bracelet, right?
But that's a remembrance bracelet, right? Of sorts.
Well, it's got scripture on the back of it, Matthew 19:26. With God, all things are possible. Now, I don't wear this on my wrist because I think that if I do, good things are going to happen to me. It's a literal reminder for me that with him, all things are possible. So that if I'm in some situation that's dire, or I need encouragement, I've got something to go to. But I'm not wearing it for superstition. Just that distinction make difference?
I think it's fine. My point was more like I described just a moment ago with how people like Gretzky set up something that is pattern-esque so that they could have a result or hope for a result that is going to happen not because of the well, isn't that interesting, Tim? So they maybe gain some trust, some sense of confidence, but it's who claims that at the end of the day, that confidence or that trust, do you give it to yourself? I mean, look what I just did by doing this kind of these things in this way. I am the great one, but eventually does that become, what the heck was I doing? And really, was that even a true, like you must get to a place eventually where you're like, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
What you
would think, but and there is the reality of coincidence, and there is the reality of these things, of illusion, of these things appearing to be of benefit and work for you, whatever they might be. So there is some room in your life for free will, and that you can affect things, you can make decisions and affect outcomes, make choices. But then with the superstition, it's okay, so you have some power to do things yourself. You're not God, but you have some choice in life. And is it really these things that you're doing that are making things happen.
I guess and this is where I'm going to get into trouble, I bet. But this is where I'm going to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that anything that is based on my power,
mm-hmm.
like something I've created, something I've packaged, something that I've, is built around these, go back to this supernatural, spiritual orientation that we have opportunity to sort of lean in and go, what is this going to look like when I move through it with God's will, God's power,
mm-hmm.
versus I've got this thing programmed this way because you know what? I feel right about it because it's always worked these ways before. And if I do these 3 things and then I add this on top of it and I go do my church and, say my prayers and everything is done exactly the way I feel should be done.
Yeah.
God's going to grace me with his favor, his presence, and I'm like, no, it's not that. At the end of it, it really, truly, it's God's with you always.
Yeah.
And so
in good times and in bad times and when things go right, when things go wrong.
So I tried to find some scriptural stuff, and I think it's buried in there, and you were finding it too. Some more research on how spiritual practices can be misused, misunderstood, right? And found some pretty cool information related to what, as faith-oriented people, what we can get tripped up on, right?
Yeah. And so let's just go through the list here. So, like prayer, the misuse, becoming formulaic, rushed, or used to earn favor.
Right.
With God rather than communing with Him.
I
think that's exactly what you're saying. And, in the Bible, it says when you pray, do not heap up empty phrases for they think they will be heard for their many words. The right use is about relationship, honesty, intimacy with God, and not for performance. So it's funny because I have a prayer. I pray it, every night at dinner, and it's the same prayer each day, and it's simple, but it does come from my heart. It's a prayer of gratitude, and for different things. And I know some people probably look at me and go, well, that's just such a rote prayer, and I know it's very simple, but it's also. It's being honest.
Sure.
This is how,
No.
and if it,
I think again, what we're talking about is just the word you used, honesty, authentic, honest. You're not creating something for a result. I mean, the result can come and it should come, and by gosh, if the earnestness and the sincerity is all there, you know what's happening? If you ask me, you know what's happening in that prayer? You are settling your heart already, right?
Mm-hmm.
You are already in acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
If you're honest, you're already, hey, God, I understand what is going on. This is how I'm coming to you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're honest, open, and He's intentional, you're already gaining peace, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're already settling in. You're not desperately going to Him, right? So you're kind of already doing that wonderful work, which settles the soul and allows the spirit to be open, available. So I think it's already been said, honesty in the prayer.
Yeah. So here's another one. Worship and singing.
Singing is a big one. There's all sorts of churches
so the
sing.
Misuse, just going through the motions or focusing on the music rather than the meaning. The biblical kind of warning to this: these people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. That's Isaiah 29:13. Anyway, the right use of worship is to engage both the heart and the mind, connecting us to God's presence in truth and spirit. Reading Scripture. A misuse can be treating the Bible as a rule book or an intellectual exercise rather than God's living words. Jesus said to the Pharisees, you search the scriptures because you think that in terms, or that in them you have eternal life, and it is they that bear witness about me. The right use is the scripture reading should be used to lead to transformation, not just information. It reveals Christ and it calls us into communion with him. Here's a good one.
They're all good, Tim.
Church attendance. Church attendance and sacraments.
Yeah, how about that one? Yep.
The misuse, attending church or receiving communion as a checkbox for salvation or for status.
Yep.
And in Corinthians, Paul rebukes the Corinthians for taking communion unworthily, meaning without self-examination or without sincerity. These are, the right uses. These are means of grace and meant to nourish the soul and unite believers with Christ and with each other. And at the same time, in saying this, so attending church isn't a checkbox for salvation.
No.
But at the same time, I think people would say, well, I don't go to church. I just, I worship God at home or by myself, and I don't need church. I think is wrong too, because there's plenty of places in the Bible where, the church is expressed as the bride of Jesus. Yeah. And the church is all the people. It's not the structures and stuff. Yeah. But, it is a relational thing. And when people are together in worship, there's value to that. Yeah. God created us, He's a personal God. He's a relational God, and he created us to be together in the church. And I do think that it's important to attend. It doesn't mean you all have to be there every single Sunday, or that there aren't times you can miss. But I think going on a regular basis is going to deepen that relationship.
It will. But this whole experience of moving from what are our own kind of false, like idols, let's call them, whatever those things are that we've created that we think will help us manage life, our existence. Over time, guarantee you are going to find these things drop away, fail, succumb to too many tests of time where it's just like, this doesn't hold together. Yeah. This doesn't hold together. This doesn't hold together. This is no longer holding together. And it continues throughout, I think, the life journey, unless you slow yourself and I call it surrender. I've said it enough on these podcasts. It's part of my whole KNOTStrong spiritual journey. It's like, dude, the exact opposite of what I thought was strength, and that's physical and emotional, is really going to have to rely more on now spiritual, because my physical strength, my physical being is getting challenged. My emotional being, who knows? I mean, I'm going to be honest. I could be heading in the same direction as my mom. With she's suffering the dementia, and I feel like it's a genetic thing, and I feel like there's a good chance if I'm not careful, I'm heading in that same direction. But I'm not. Am I afraid? No, I'm actually I'm wide open right now. I'm paying attention. I'm learning. I'm studying. My diet's changing. Everything's shifting. My spirit and continence is adjusting. It's like the reliance on God grows. Yeah. If you, especially as life continues, it grows because you pull back from all those self-oriented things you've created, all this stuff you've packaged and put out there to protect yourself or to go ahead and, prove yourself, demonstrate your worth, and here you are, because you practice all these things and you do it in this special way. And it's like, oh, it's just all smoke and mirrors. It's just kind of a thing that's been created for a little while until it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
Because it won't work eventually. In fact, that's what they say in there. There's 60 to 80% of people are superstitious.
Yeah, a lot.
There's a lot of people are superstitious. And you kind of understand that because that's how human history went. For thousands of years, we were built around superstitious tendencies and things that were, created because we didn't have knowledge at the time that was of the cosmos, or we didn't understand.
Didn't have an explanation.
And so we just create and make these things up and believe in them because
fears, anxieties, these things that are happening. You gotta
all
have
of
an explanation.
All of it, yeah.
Explain and make you feel better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, here we are dealing with what is now huge shifts in time and knowledge. And I think that our spiritual strength is so important right now for our livelihoods.
And it doesn't mean, of course, that, and I do, I agree with you completely, and that it grows over the time. The more mature you are,
the more you see, the more you experience. Yeah.
And talk through things and investigate and learn. It builds on it, on itself.
What's the one paradox? The only constant in life is there is no constant.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. There's still, even as you mature spiritually throughout life, you still get pulled away. There's still ups and downs and ebbs and flows, and times when you feel closer to God, and times when you don't. And I don't think you beat yourself up over that, but as you do get more spiritually mature, throughout life, and some people mature a lot quicker than others, I allowed myself in the last year, almost year, to really become as open as possible, brother. I have never been more open, more vulnerable, more honest, more willing, more like in awe of what we might miss if we're so careful and afraid and it's like crazy because it's like you with your friend right now. I've been thinking about that, and you are experiencing things that are probably unimaginable, but there's something in, at least as I try to figure it out, just thinking about you and praying for you, I'm like, there's got to be a relationship thing that's really different with God. Like not less, not more, just bigger. Do you think it's more real for you now than it's ever been, if you want to just get to that strange question just
about
as I've learned more over the years and experienced more in my own life and in my own
that's where we have
journey and seeking and knowing the times that I've called upon the Lord to help me through different situations, and the answers that I get, and I still forget all the time to call on Him. There'll still be things that happen, and I've learned that there's nothing too big for Him to solve, and nothing too little to go with Him, go to Him for. And so, and these are all just things I've learned, I've seen over time. But I definitely, it's not like I have all the answers, and I forget and get pulled away, and it's a constant. I think you got to be intentional.
We have opportunities to be intentional, to learn and understand, and be willing and see what can happen that doesn't have to work the way we want it to work. It's like, that's where I'm getting to nowadays. It's like my mom, she will struggle the rest of her life with this, right? With dementia, and that's how she'll pass on. And I'm either going to be the son that brings her comfort if I can, makes her safe if I can, has love where I can, comfort her. Dude, I told someone this the other day, and I'm just going to say it. I mean, I have never spent the kind of time with my mom. I was rubbing her back twice now when I've been down there. I want to make sure that I provide some comfort. And what I do know is the human touch is huge, right?
Yeah.
But we weren't about love and, hugs and all that kind of stuff as kids. Now I'm sitting beside her and I'm just rubbing and scratching her back for literally 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And she's just melting. Like it's just so good.
Yeah.
And that's the kind
sweet.
of, it's the kind of stuff you get to do because you're not afraid or you're not, and just going, well, I can't do anything. This is a hopeless situation. No, you can do so many.
I've gotten better at hugging people through my life. I wasn't always great at that.
Well,
it's
stuff. Some of it's learned.
But I understand exactly what you're saying. Yeah, and I think that, by the way, that's probably another great topic for a show. It is that whole subject of dementia, caring for your parents. There's so many people I know of our age whose parents are they're passing or they're fighting things like dementia.
Yep.
And I can tell you, just FYI, my grandmother on my mom's side also had dementia and passed from it. She lived with us for a number of years, and so I saw some of that. And my mom's always been, because she thinks, this is, genetic.
Yeah,
and
sure.
she's
Well, it partly is. It can
worries
be.
about
Yeah.
it, but, she's as sharp as ever. Sharp as a tack. They say she's worried about it throughout her life.
Yeah.
But, she hasn't seemed, hadn't been affected by that. So,
well, the brain is an amazing thing, by the way, and I've done a lot of reading on it. And there's something called, and I know this is rabbit hole stuff, but it's called cognitive reserve. And your brain has the capacity. They've studied brains that you look at the brain and you go, this is the brain of an Alzheimer's patient, but they never behaved as an Alzheimer's patient would have. Like the workarounds that the brain has, amazing. It requires a lot of intentionality, as you just said, where you stay after it, you keep yourself. People that don't go into groups and don't like other people and they like to isolate, that's a problem. Yeah. They're not in dynamic conversations. They're not, challenging each other, so you can start slipping in that regard. If you're not exercising, that's a big one. If you're not eating properly, it's a big one. So all these things are factors in how the brain, because they say the brain isn't dying necessarily. It's really built around cognitive, these reserves where you keep pathways open and there's like 100 billion neurons in your brain. 90 to 100 billion neurons. So it's a powerful tool, but you got to use it.
And those people that I do know, who they reached a long life, great age and stuff, and they do. I mean, they're exercise still. Yeah. They're engaged in business or social groups. And just
active,
keeping everything active and firing.
Super important. So I've got some fun stuff because I know we're going to go get close. And you have another one?
I just wanted to. I was on that list. The last kind of thing was because it was, as you were talking about it before, the rosary. So under meditation and repetition, and what we were trying to to state, the misuse is treating repetition as a magical act or a source of power disconnected from the heart.
Right.
The right use is when it's done with intention and reverence.
I love that word, reverence.
Then repetition, repetitive prayer can draw the soul deeper into contemplation and the mystery of God's presence. And, it's kind of summed up here that the, spiritual practices are not meant to earn God's love. They're meant as a response to it. That's the sort of bow that gets wrapped up.
I love that. That's perfect. Now for fun. Ready? A couple more things.
Yeah.
These are what I found, the 10 common superstitious beliefs across the different cultures. Friday the 13th ranks up there still, right? Yeah. Breaking mirrors is a big one. Walking under a ladder. Where'd that come from?
What was the last one?
Walking under a ladder.
Yeah,
It's weird, associated with walking beneath open ladder, tempting fate and disturbing the spirits. Knocking on wood prevents bad luck. There it is. Spilling salt brings bad luck. Black cats still out there. Poor black cats. That's just not fair for those cats.
Yeah.
How about itchy palms?
What's that?
Itchy palms.
Itchy palms. I occasionally get them.
Well, depending on the specific palm, this superstition suggests either receiving money, that's the right palm, or spending money, that's the left palm. There it is.
Funny.
There's a lot of that going on right now, Tim. Too much money going out the house. All right, finding a horseshoe brings good luck. Opening an umbrella indoors, bad luck. That's an old one.
Yeah.
They say this belief might stem back from the risk of damaging things or poking someone in the eye. I don't know. Saying bless you. Saying bless you when someone sneezes. This courtesy actually originates from ancient beliefs that sneezing expelled evil spirits.
Yeah, I've heard all that. It's crazy how many there are. You forget them all.
Yeah, that's across cultures. Those are the top 10.
I don't know. I'm not going to walk under a ladder if I don't have to.
Isn't that weird? I probably wouldn't either. Yeah, but I always look up and there's probably some paint up there that I'll kick the ladder by accident.
And if a black cat did run in front of me, I would think twice. Is that bad?
No, and here I'll just say it true. I end up stopping the car if they're somewhere near me or on the road, and I'll be like, "There's no way that cat is going to." I'm talking like a block up ahead. Yeah. I'm just going to let that thing clear before I even get to that space.
Yeah.
So there is something that still draws me into some irony. Like God, this may actually work. But we know it doesn't. All right. So I don't know how much we did in dispelling it wasn't meant to dispel superstitions. I think superstitions can be fun,
It's fun.
Yeah. but and it's nice to look back through history and see how they impacted mankind, because it used to be not fun. Superstitions were a big deal, But hopefully there's some additional information that we brought forth that just says, hey, God is with you. I mean, the power is there. It's granted us love, mercy, grace, and gratitude. We get to live in that, honoring the divine spirit. That's what we get to do, and it shines. People will say that to you. You know that, right? Yeah, believe me, I've heard it a few times. I mean, I feel like you bring energy into a place, and you bring your spirit, and you bring your light, and people they see it and they gravitate towards it. And
I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's the way it works.
Say the same thing about you.
That's the way it works, brother. And it's been that part of our life that I'm always grateful for. And more now than ever before. So tell them what's going on. Tell them what's going on with our podcast.
So we're worldwide now. So we've got it on all the major platforms. We got accepted to Apple Music,
Spotify,
Amazon, Spotify. In addition to YouTube, Good Casts, Good Pods, iHeart. Just a whole host of them. And in the vodcast, the video, it's on Spotify and YouTube, and all the rest are just the audio platforms. But it's more available, and it's all over the world. And they asked what countries do you want this delivered to, and so do you want like China and Russia, and is that going to open up like the spam and stuff? And they're like, no, there's go to the English speaking audience over there. So anyways, there. And
Belgium.
We're big in Belgium. we're like on fire in Belgium. We're like number 176 and moving up the charts of personal journals.
Oh, well. It's good stuff. So thank you for joining us. Not Strong, Empowering the Human Spirit. I'm Kurtis Loftus.
And I'm Tim Hanley.
We'll see you next week.